Good evening. How's everyone doing? Thank you all for joining us. We are back for another episode of Fireflies Forever. And like we always say, man, do we have a lot to talk about. So let me bring these two gentlemen on screen. Hello, everyone. Joe, how's it going today?
Man, I'm doing great. Yeah, a lot to talk about as usual. Every single week, it seems they're giving us more and more stuff, and yeah, couldn't be happier. Love this show and spending time, of course, with Chris and Jeff, talking about all this stuff we love in the wrestling world that's going on. So, and of course, in remembrance to Jody, all of this is as always.
That's right. That's right. Chris, man, how's it going?
Doing all right. I'm getting excited about this stuff. It's really starting to pick up pace now, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is picking up the pace. And I know that all of us want to talk about it, but we got a couple things to get to first. Make sure we, want to keep Jody's memory alive. And we do that in our first segment of every show where we have Chris or one of us or one of you discuss memories of Jody. So, Chris, take it away.
All right, so I'm going to show a picture here in a second, but I want to set it up first. Harper, my daughter, got me a gift for Father's Day. She found this website where you could go and like custom make a poster, and you can like put like all your family members and design what they look like and stuff on it. And so I needed to get a frame for it to hang it. I got the poster in the mail and ordered a frame. And so we'll show the first picture first. I received the frame in the mail yesterday, and it was, of all the things that could be like, come in the frame to start with, I thought this was crazy that it was something related to England. Obviously, Jody being a Brit, instantly just made me think about her to see the red telephone booth in there. So, it's just one of those crazy things that, it's just, they could have had anything in that frame, but that's what it was. And then the next picture is I put the poster that Harper made me in the frame, and got to get some nails and stuff to get it hung up on the wall. But yeah, I thought that was a really awesome gift that Harper made me, and put all of us on there. She totally designed that herself and did a great job.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's really awesome. Yeah, she's got talent. That's really nice. And man, yeah. I can't even imagine, how hard it is on my heart goes out to you, Chris, and all your family. I can't imagine how hard it is, on your kids and yourself and stuff like that. It's just got to be heartbreaking every single day. So yeah, that's wonderful. It really is very nice.
Yeah, well, things like this definitely helps to talk about it, helps to have other people share their thoughts and feelings and memories and stuff. So I appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. Look, I've said it before, to back up Chris's point, we wouldn't do this we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jody. The show wouldn't be, for sure. Mm-hmm. We got to know her from wrestling days, and we could see what a big fan of Bray she was, and of course, Chris, of course, too, because his fan of wrestling and fandom of wrestling, and that's what got her. So got her into it. You passed it on, and so this show wouldn't be here.
We're going to watch wrestling before we met.
Yeah. And she used to tell us that, it was funny. She knew so much about Bray, and again, that all came from you, and it's. It's just awesome. And of course, Jeff and Joe. I still marvel at Jeff and Jody doing the shows when Bray was gone. Like,
oh yeah,
it was so hard for you to do that. And like, I marveled at the fact that you guys out there in the chat too that kept watching through all of that as well. Yeah. Man, it's just a tribute to the fact that you just all loved hearing from her and stuff like that. So yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And, I will say that during that time period, it was her passion that kept it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were always trying to find new ways to talk about different things. And honestly, sometimes we'd just show up on the stream and have maybe one or two things, but then just let the chat kind of run, help us run along the show. That's what we did. So so it is a testament to her passion and the love that she had for everyone that supports us and all of that. So beautiful words for sure. And I forgot to do this earlier, but I want to welcome everyone in that's in chat, whether you're joining us on YouTube, X, Facebook, or Twitch. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. And one other thing that was very close to Jody's heart is artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go through a little bit of artwork here and just kind of scroll through these real quick. I'm going to actually make it bigger so everyone can see them well. We got some really good stuff. And as always, if you have artwork, if you see artwork, send it to us. We want it. We need it.
Right?
Yeah, we like having art every week.
Yes, we do. So thank you all, and we'll start with Howdy sketch here. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I saw this one on Twitter the other day. Yeah, really, really amazing. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got that awesome collection.
Wow.
That's
really cool.
These are amazing. Like, I mean, the figures and stuff that he's making here are awesome. Like, they're really.
You didn't know better. You could easily think those were, put out.
You absolutely can. Yeah, I mean, amazingly done. And I don't think he's selling them there for his own collection, but he had mentioned that if people are interested, it might be something he might think about doing. But man, yeah, they really do. They're designed almost just like you see them designed for the wrestling toys designed them. So
Abby's figure is just as scary as she is in person.
yeah, that's very true.
Absolutely.
But here's the question: can you make it bend upside down? That's what I want to know.
I hope not.
For Joe's sake.
Oh my God.
Hopefully not, but for the rest of us, yes.
Yeah, I hope not.
All right, we got one from Brittany K. This one,
oh wow,
really good. That moment, man, and his
that was just tremendous last week. That in his interview and looking down at the mask, it's a great capture. Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to give a shout out to Nicole Faluca, who I think is in the chat, or at least she was at one point.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
She sent us over some artwork. So
nice.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We greatly appreciate it. But this is
wow, that's cool. Look at that.
Yeah, love that.
I love to see the ink sketches. They look like so raw. Like I grew up a big comic book fan, and I always like to get hands on when I would go to like comic conventions and stuff. I'd always love to get like first drawings or original prints that they would do. I've seen so many cool ones over the years. But that's really, really cool.
That is
very, very cool.
Yeah, this is amazing. The detail is crazy. Wait till you see this one.
Oh man,
that is so cool.
The fact that you can go and sketch that on just a notebook just blows my mind.
Yeah,
it just blows my mind. You know what that would look like if I tried to do that? It'd be all little stick figures with little arms sticking out on either side. And my gosh.
Again, look how scary Abby looks.
She's looking more and more like the character from The Ring, and I'm getting more and more scared every single week. That's
off the top rope last night.
Yeah, I know. And then she sat over in the corner, and I'm like, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
I have to live with it. It's gonna come at some point. She's gonna spider walk, and I'm just gonna throw up.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta do that tribute to Bray.
Yeah, the tribute to Bray is going to be me throwing up because Abby's spider walking. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna happen. He'll be having a good laugh up there.
Yeah.
Man.
Nicole saying, "Thank you guys. Never say never. If Wyndham can teach himself how to draw within a year, I think anybody can do it. That's a great perspective.
Yeah.
This is Nicole. You got to tell us how, what you're using, what you're using to do in these different.
That looks more like paint.
Yeah,
it does kind of look like the blacks almost look like paints. And man, wow, that's incredible. That's really incredible. Glad to see you're doing this, Nicole. I know you had a hard time, as a lot of people did, but I know you really had a rough time, obviously when Bray passed, because you knew him and stuff like Jody did. So I'm glad to see you're doing it. I really am. And thanks for coming on and for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Nicole.
She's got one more here.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I love the way she did the light coming out from the lantern. That's so awesome.
Yeah, man. Look at that. Yeah, it's almost like that. It's almost like the light's spilling out, kind of out the bottom and stuff. Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, some awesome.
Very awesome.
Well, I hope you guys all have something to share. If you don't, if you know somebody who does, and Nicole, keep sharing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Zeke saying, talking about Jody. Yeah, man. It's Chris can speak to that better.
I think that thought almost every day. It still doesn't seem real to me.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, guys. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, I'd say, as it relates to some theories and discussion surrounding what we got last night. And Nicole, I'm going to put Nicole's comment there, saying what she used to do the different pieces that she showed. And they all, again, thank all of you talented artists. We really appreciate your work and doing these different pieces. We greatly appreciate you. And I mean, it's just tremendous to see the talent and just how great everyone is at this. I mean, it's
No doubt. No doubt.
All right, so I want to get here first because I think when we get into the meat of what happened last night, it'll be that'll take up a good amount of time. So I want to go here first. What do we think of Dexter's video, Mercy's video, whatever you want to call him? Just know he looks awesome.
Yeah.
Awesomely terrifying. I wouldn't go anywhere near this dude. I mean, come on, man. I like Marley's afraid of him too, as you can see. I like the X on the head. They mentioned somewhere where they might be getting that from, but I mean, when I look at that, I think of it's almost like Charles Manson-ish with that cross on his head and I mean, look at it. All the black, of course, around the eyes, which fit the mask because the mask, the shadow of the eyes inside the mask. Holy cow! And I mean, look at what I can't believe is how big these guys got. Holy crap! Have they been man? Dude, have they been hitting the weight room and stuff like that? Because these guys are huge. And I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but did you that double move, that double Uranagi that they both did last night? Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see, man. We really made progress last night, and we'll go into this later, but he looks that terrifying. You don't want to mess with this dude. You don't want to and now I'm kind of thinking, Jeff, too. I don't know whether I want him to talk. I don't know whether I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did get the run.
Yeah, he did. Right. But I don't know.
I think he's a little scarier just saying a word here or there.
He is.
Yeah. Oh, man. And Chris, I want to get your thoughts. And you sent me over another photo.
Yep.
So I'm going to put that up
That
there.
is definitely the vibe that I got after seeing that. I know that Bray was a huge Rob Zombie fan. I am too, so that's why I instantly thought about that. And a lot of the imagery with the three of them and stuff really gave me, reminded me a lot of like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and stuff. So I definitely feel like he drew some inspiration there from Rob Zombie.
Yeah, absolutely. Clown actually bringing that up, saying channeling his inner Otis from House of a
Otis Driftwood.
That's right.
Firefly family.
That's right. So Chris, what did you think of the interview per se with Mercy and some of the things that were said during the actual tape?
I loved it. I love the way they're playing off of the word mercy as it is, and not, but it also is the name too, and then in also playing off the the buzzards and stuff too. Like, I just did such a great job of tying all that together with things that Bray talked about and put it into this character that he made.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Before I get to you, I wanted to get to Heather's comment. Heather saying, I want to know if those locks are real. Did he grow out his hair this whole time, or did they attach faux locks to his natural hair? His whole presentation is amazing and spooky as heck. So I agree, Heather. Joe, what are your thoughts about the message that we got on the tape? And
give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna stop her from barking. I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. Well, that gives me a good chance to do this because I never remembered to do it, Chris. You know what I'm talking about. So, folks, if you are here, please drop a like on the video. If you are new to the channel, you can hit that subscribe button, hopefully, if you like what you see in here. And yeah, we do this show every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. So, Boogie's Washington, we're definitely going to get to that announcement and what's next for sure. Because we've got a lot to say about that. But Joe, just your thoughts on the message from the videotape and just your overall thoughts of his presentation at this point.
I mean, all Bray, right? All Bray all the time. Just come up and just says run. And look, everything about these guys is just supposed to be menacing, brutal. I think too, and you could tell me if you agree with this, but to me, I think really here they're going back to the roots. I think they're going back to the roots of the Wyatt family. I really do. A lot of people are looking at the supernatural kind of stuff. I don't know that they're doing that. Yes, the masks are scary and all that kind of stuff, and they represent the puppets. But I really believe that they are. See what I did there? Believe. See, they are. I think they're really going. I think they're really going back to the roots, and I think they're just bringing out these big dudes that are just scary as hell. And they're going to be devastating in the ring like we saw last night. So, yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I don't think they need, you had the big characters, right? You had Bo do the long video, and that's fine. I don't think they need to do the long videos on each guy. It makes them a little more mysterious and things like that as well. Maybe you don't need that much information about them, but same as they had with Harper and Rowan, right? They didn't necessarily need a lot of words to say a lot of things, but yet they were still menacing in the ring. And I kind of think that's what they're going for here. I really do. I think Nikki will be the supernatural piece in the group, but I think the rest of them are going to kind of stay grounded, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and it transitions us nicely to what happened when Chad Gable's just got. I mean, I don't know if I feel bad for him, but he's in trouble. So we got the whole interaction between him and Otis and Maxine Dupree, and so we get the lights, obviously. And the Creed brothers and Chad Gable are now, probably pooping themselves. And of course, we get we get the Wyatt Sicks, but we don't get everyone.
Yep.
We get Mercy. We get Ramblin'. And we get Huskus.
Yep.
And, they come down to the ring and honestly didn't know what to expect, which is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get them up on the ring apron, and they look all menacing. And then we get this moment.
Oh man, the unmasking.
So I want to stop here, and I'll start with Joe this time. And chat, I want you to chime in too. Joe, what did you think of them unmasking, and what did you think of this moment as a whole?
I mean, it's the next step in the evolution, right? We haven't seen this. We know who they are. When like Chad Gable always knows their secret identity. If he knows who they are. We know who they are, right? But I think this was the next step. Like right now, we're seeing like I think this is this to me is kind of like a make or break moment here. I think because if they come out and they do this. And let's say they're now they have a little bit of face paint just by the eyes, of course, to enhance the mask. But if they came out and they had their faces all painted up, or they still didn't really look like themselves much, then I think people would have been, oh boy, like here we go. They took the mask off, and now they're gonna wrestle with this silly like if they looked a little bit like the Mountain Dew match, and if they had like weird paint like all over their faces and everything like that. To me, this showed me that the masks are what they are. The masks are there to represent the characters of the Funhouse, a part of Bray. But when the masks come off, it's the men behind the masks. And I think what they're trying to show here, I think, is what they truly are and what they truly wanted to be in wrestling. Not what they were, but this is what they are now. And, for Rowan, the part about him being broken and all that kind of stuff is going to come out. All this anger from them being treated the way they were. Joe Gacy and of course, Loomis now is going to come out in these personas. So, this was great. I'm glad they did it. I wasn't sure when this was going to happen. In fact, we're going to get to this later. I'm sure a lot of people thought this was going to happen at SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. But they chose to do it now, and I think it's great. Next step in the process.
Yeah. Chris, your thoughts on the unmasking and just the moment itself?
I absolutely loved it. I wasn't ready for it. Wasn't expecting it. We've seen them come down a few times and be intimidating and stuff, and then all of a sudden here they go to strip the mask off and get in. I'm like, whoa, here we go. So, yeah, it was awesome. And then to see the stuff that they did, I was just kind of blown away by the whole thing. I had to go back and watch it a couple more times to kind of take it all in. But like Joe said, I absolutely love what they're doing with this. I feel like they're really doing a great job of grounding this in wrestling. Like, they can take the mask off and they can still wrestle. These are still real characters. It's not so crazy supernatural. And I like it. It's fitting really well. It's dark and scary and spooky and stuff without being ridiculous, not that, everything Bray did was ridiculous, but, it fits well for this. Like, and without Bray, maybe this is the better direction to go, with that. So I'm absolutely loving it. I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with this story, you see a lot of reality. I mean, yeah, there's some mind tricks and different things that we're seeing, but it's mostly based in reality. And the idea of mask, which Bray often brought up, people, about people wearing masks. We especially saw that when during his final run when Howdy was introduced. So I think that's significant. I guess as a follow-up to that, and Joe, we'll start with you. What do you say to the folks who maybe, I mean, respectfully, of course, but what do you say to the folks who are like, man, this ruins it for me? What do you say to them about expectations versus, what is taking place?
I'd have to go back and take them back. Like if they were fans of Bray to begin with, I'd have to take them back to when he first came out with the Wyatt family. They weren't wearing masks. They weren't doing any of that. They were just kicking ass and taking names. I mean, they were in some bangers with the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, with the Shield. I mean, they were menacing, and people compared Bray, of course, to a cult leader. They called him Cult Leader Bray, and that's what they were. They were just a cult. Well, I think that's what this is kind of going back to. And you know what I think is, and I'm looking at that picture now, and I didn't notice this last night, but there's wording on his right glove. I wonder if that's a hurt heel thing that's worded on that glove. I just noticed that now, but I wonder, Jeff and Chris, honestly, if we know that the plans were going to be some sort of faction before Bray passed. We know that. We know that there was going to be some other members in this. Maybe Eric Young might have been supposedly being in this, and others, but they were going to make some sort of faction. So we know that this is where this was going to go. Bray and his brother were probably going to be the main two people in it, and then they were going to surround themselves with 4 other people and be the Wyatt Sicks. But Bray would always have been the most supernatural, I think, of the group. And we saw that new Fiend costume. We knew where he was going. He was going to be the supernatural, entity of the group. Howdy would be right up there with him. And then the rest of the group was always going to be probably dressed as the puppets like they are now. But again, Bray would have been the one to have, and who knows, maybe Bray had ideas to even change up the supernatural stuff a little bit too, and kind of go and bring back a little bit of his cult leader persona. And then the Fiend could always have just been the supernatural part of it. He would have been the one to be the supernatural part of it. Now it looks as if Nikki might be. So I think they're really following his dream, which is what Bo said he was going to do. And I think they're just expounding on that. So yeah, I mean, look, if you're upset about it, if you're worried about it, give it, again, we've been saying this since the start. It's advancing every single week. It's not like we're stuck in a holding pattern. It's not like we're not seeing anything changing. And I would say, that I think it's progressing fine. They've obviously got themselves an enemy here. And that enemy could be anyone at any time. So I'm fine with this. They revealed themselves. They're not wearing masks. Some were so afraid. Oh my God, they better not wrestle in those masks because that would be really stupid and blah blah blah. Well, they're not going to. So yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it's great.
Chris, I want to get your thoughts on that too, for folks who might be a little leery.
I would say just think, take a step back and think about what this is. We know from the documentary, this is Bo wanting to carry on his brother's legacy, the stories that they had talked about together and created. He wanted to continue to tell and just keep his memory alive, things he did and stuff. So, look at all the things that they're doing. They're, like Joe said, they're completely encompassing every bit of everything that Bray ever did. They're little, all the way back to the Wyatt family, to the Fiend, they're doing everything. Like I said, it feels like the Wyatt family, but they're still keeping masks like the Fiend. They're just tying in all these little things that Bray did all throughout his career so well together. So it's just, if you think about it from that perspective, that they're trying to touch on everything they can of little elements here and there that Bray did and things that take you back to the Wyatt family and stuff. So, and if you think about it from that respect, it's just they're absolutely killing it.
Yep.
Yeah. I brought up this picture too because we mentioned at the beginning when we started going through this that not everyone was present. Well, out of nowhere, quite literally out of nowhere, Nikki comes off the top rope. Just quick thoughts from you, Chris, and then we'll go to Joe about how you interjected.
Yeah, before the show, I was telling Jeff this. Like, they remind me of like a pack of wolves, like because they're coming at you from all angles. You had the 3 of them come out at first, and then she attacked from behind, and then Chad tried to run away, and Howdy came out from there. It's like you can't get away from all of them.
Yep.
They'll come at you from all angles. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Joe.
Yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? Like that when they were looking to go out the other direction, she's all of a sudden now crawling rather on the ground in front of them. So, and I think again, she's going to be the one I think that's just going to ultimately terrify people because she's going to just come out of nowhere at you. You're not going to know where she is. She again, and I'll probably get to this too. Michael Cole referred to her as Abby, which was Abby the Witch, which was then later cut out of the taping. So I don't know whether he made a mistake, screwed up, or they just didn't want him to say it yet. But yeah, I remember hearing that. I'm like, wow, he
called her Sister Abigail.
He called the Sister Abigail. Sorry, yeah. He called her Sister Abigail. So man, that's what I'm saying. Like obviously Bo is the leader, but she is probably right up there as far as controlling people goes. And that's kind of what Abby does. So yeah, like she's gonna. But I'm telling you, I know it. That's why I said I keep telling you, I know it's coming. I know it's coming because there's gonna be a time when they're wrestling and Gable's gonna turn around and she's gonna be backwards. I know it's coming because she probably has the flexibility to do it. Bray was extremely flexible for his size, but she probably has the flexibility to easily. When I saw her in the corner like that, I'm like, all it's going to take is for her to just bend her head over. That's it. That's all it's going to take. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, Maxine didn't want the smoke is right. She just took off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about taking off, shall we? So we get the beat down.
Yeah.
And Chad Gable just hightails it and he backs his way up the ramp. And
there he is.
Someone happy to greet Chad with a howdy, probably. Chris, what did you think about the ending here and Chad Gable kind of hightailing it, and then we'll get to the announcement for next week?
I thought it was perfect, and like we're since we're segueing into that, I'll go ahead and start talking about it. We talked about it a little bit before the show. I think it's cool that the way they're doing it of having a 6-man tag first on Raw, and I think that in this moment here, I feel like this is going to help build up the inevitable Chad versus Uncle Howdy singles match.
Yeah.
I think that maybe we'll see that on a pay-per-view, in the near future. But I think it's cool that they're holding that back, and this moment really tied into that. I think that's going to be awesome whenever we do get that Howdy singles match, with most likely with Chad.
Joe.
Yeah, I would be surprised, honestly, if we don't see something from them at SummerSlam. I'd be surprised. I don't know what it'll be exactly. Maybe Gable just happens to be there. Maybe he's in the back. I don't know. But I would be surprised if we don't get something because SummerSlam is really their last really big show of the year. Obviously, they don't have a scheduled match, but I don't think that would matter. I would be surprised if we don't see something. I love that picture. He looks like a ringmaster, like an evil ringmaster, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that you're going to get the 6-man tag, which I think is fine, or the the tag team match first, and then it ends up will probably be settled with Bo and Chad. But yeah, look, the cool thing about this group is they can give WWE some choices where they might just need a big attraction for something. Like Saudi seems to be a place that loves these guys. All the horror characters they seem to really dig. So maybe they're going to have that, maybe the Bo match versus Chad will be built up and they'll have it overseas in Saudi or some place like that. And who knows what kind of match it could be. It could be a crazy type match, right? It might not be just a regular match like Bray used to did the strap match and stuff like that. So maybe it's something like that they're going to build up. But yeah, I love this. I believe also that when they get to Netflix, man, all bets are off. They can go as crazy with this as they want to. If they want to show blood, if they want to do, insane stuff like that, they sure will be able to when it comes to the Netflix show. So that's probably why they're on Raw, if I had to guess. Because if they want to get a little more, little more crazy, a little more not kid friendly, they certainly can. So.
Yeah, I don't know if they could have done this stuff from their first appearance with the blood and everything on Fox.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm just throwing this out there now. It would not surprise me within 18 months if at some point Netflix produces some type of special with them.
Yeah. It would shock me.
That would be tremendous.
Using all the Wyatt lore and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What if they did something with, like a Funhouse with the Wyatt Sicks, where instead of the puppets, you get them actually in the Funhouse? Like,
yeah.
All I'm gonna say, guys, is wait until October.
Yep.
And wait until we get to Halloween, because like the Halloween episode of Raw would be the 28th. So wait, because that's when they use all this stuff. And so
yeah. So I want to go back to Chris on the whole SummerSlam deal, because again, like I mentioned with the unmasking, you get a portion of fans who are not happy that we're not seeing this match at SummerSlam, and they feel like we should get it at SummerSlam and not Raw. I will throw in that I don't think people are considering, which I don't think is going to happen, but I think the possibility of Roman returning would overshadow that in some ways. But I just want to, what would your advice be to those folks? And then we'll come back to Joe.
I would say that, I see both sides. I get the disappointment, about it, and especially with the SummerSlam ties that Bray had of debuting the Fiend there and his original cult leader character at SummerSlam. But think about it from this way, like, this is still really early on. I mean, we still have another videotape to see of Gacy, and I feel like in some ways it could have pushed a little too fast to have them on a pay-per-view match. And it also, too, if you look at the SummerSlam card, it doesn't really fit in that well. Like, I feel like it could be overshadowed a lot because it's mostly title matches on SummerSlam, of big things that people have been waiting for, like CM Punk and Drew. I feel like it could have got lost in that card. So I feel like it'll be highlighted better being on Raw. And then, too, like with the whole thing of Howdy having his first match, now you can build up to that start off with the 6-man tag match, and then they can build up and make maybe the Howdy match will be on pay-per-view, and that'll be the big thing that we get as far as that goes. So I'm definitely okay with it. And also, too, I was telling Jeff about this. I don't know if anybody heard this. Next week on Raw, they're going to be in Baltimore, and that arena that they're going to be in is the arena where the original Wyatt family first debuted on the main roster. So I think that's really cool that the Wyatt Sicks are going to debut in the same arena that the original Wyatt family did. And maybe that's the reasoning why they're not doing it at SummerSlam too. We've seen a lot of little things like that Bo has tied in of special places and stuff before already in this. So that could be a big part of it.
It's all about that circle, right? All right, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. I think SummerSlam has got some really big matches. I mean, the CM Punk Drew match is going to be absolutely huge, and then of course the title match between Solo and Cody is also going to be huge. And we don't know. There are rumors that are saying Roman's going to return. If he does, that starts that whole big feud with and then plus that's going to be so big. Probably be in the main event. It's going to be so big, and if people see him come back, they're going to be like, "Ooh, he's coming down the ring. Is he going to punch Cody, or is he going to do something to Solo?" And you're right. I think that is probably going to be the last memory that people are going to have in their heads. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the last thing they're thinking about. And here comes Roman back at the end of the show. and then whatever these guys did would kind of be overshadowed. So I do believe that there's other huge storylines going on too. What about the whole Rhea Ripley Liv match? That's been so big. The story's so huge. Right now, look, I know we all want to see them like Bray was, right? Front and center, one that's talked about the most on every single thing. But I look at it this way, right? Bray carried this company through some pretty dark times, if you think about it. He carried it through the old man times, right? When a lot of their stories, let's just face facts, guys, sucked.
Yeah.
A lot of their stories were terrible. You know, Jeff and I laugh about it now, but my God, doing Raw watch-alongs back then, it was awful, right? We couldn't even do it. It was so boring. We're sitting here half asleep. It was awful. So now we can all be happy as wrestling fans, WWE fans, that their storylines are way better. Let's face it. The storylines they've got going on are just way better. And so, yeah, the last thing you want to do is put them in a six-man tag, right? And let's say it's, let's say it opens the show, right? And then all this other stuff happens afterward. Well, sure, we'll remember it because we love these guys and we're big fans. But, then the pay-per-view goes on. You've got all these other huge things going on. And at the end of the day, you're going to remember the last song of the night. Like you go to a concert, you remember the finale, right? You're going to remember that last song. And if that's Roman's return, then that's going to be huge. So it does. It gets lost in the shuffle. It does make sense. Like James Chadwick said, like Chris said, they're going to the arena where they debuted. It does make sense that they're moving it on Raw. And again, I'm fine with that. Maybe the next pay-per-view we can get Bo, like Chris said, get Bo and Gable one-on-one at the next pay-per-view, and that's when we see Bo's debut. So who knows? Bo could still be working out, getting ready to go, getting back into wrestling shape and stuff like that. That does take a while. So, I'm perfectly fine with the way it's going. I'm good with them not being at SummerSlam. But like I did say, I would be surprised if we don't get a little something. Just something there. I'd be surprised.
Show up, make an appearance or something, scare somebody easily.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, imagine just for Jeff for the Roman thing. Imagine Roman comes out, does his thing, right? Whatever he's gonna do, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and they hear that noise, and they appear on the stage, and Roman and that could be for any of them because they've all kind of betrayed their family, right? Mm-hmm. It could be Roman, it could be if the Usos are there and they come out, it could be all of them, and you see the lights go out as if to say, "You're next." Mm-hmm. So that would be amazing. So yep.
Maybe Howdy says "There you are" to Roman or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Thing with him.
I would be shocked if we don't get something from them. Shocked. I would be very surprised.
So to tie this up, because there is an interesting question, even though we typically, I'll just go ahead to this question and then we'll tie a bow on last night. But there's an interesting fantasy booking question. If you watch AEW that I wanted to bring up. Matthew says, fantasy booking question. If Uncle Howdy was in AEW and created the Wyatt Sicks there, what 5 underutilized AEW wrestlers would be perfect for the fact?
Danhausen would need to be one. I mean, he just fits with the makeup and all that kind of stuff. He'd have to be one, I think. I always wanted to see Bray team up with Aleister Black. There were he made a lot of comments about admiring Bray and the work that he did and everything like that. So Aleister definitely I could see being on there. Oh man. I'm trying to think of who else. Who else does like spooky stuff over there? Yeah, anybody really from the Dark Order, I could see, sure.
Abaddon.
Oh yeah, definitely Abaddon. Yeah, Abaddon creeps me out too. She spider walked down things already. She creeps me out as well. Vincent, says Alicia. John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Evil Uno, and the Righteous. Yeah, I think there's a lot over there. I think there's I don't necessarily know. AEW is a little weird with that stuff. I don't necessarily. I mean, they did the Edge thing, which was cool. when they had that whole match with him, and they brought the Brood thing back a little bit, which was kind of cool. But that was really the most scary thing I've seen them do. I don't know that they like to do that stuff.
They tried with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, they did. They tried with Matt. They also tried with Abaddon a little bit, but it just, I don't know. It just never hits with that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question, but, yeah, I don't know.
I haven't really followed AEW for a while, so I'm not too familiar with a lot of the characters and stuff. From the things I do read and see, though, it seems to me like AEW is kind of going more the ECW route. And, ECW didn't really do, I don't feel like they did too much of that kind of stuff either. So,
yeah, I think it's important for folks to kind of carve their own path and do what works best for them. And I think a lot of that presentation, some of the extreme stuff, some of the, very acrobatic, like high flying matches, I think that's where their lane is. And they do very well in that lane. So I will throw that out.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, the question that I have for both of you is, and I'll start with Joe this time. What's the best case scenario when this feud with Gable and the Creed brothers is over? What are you looking for as a fan of this storyline, of these characters? What do you think the best possible outcome, best scenario is? And then I'll go over to Chris.
I'll say a word here. What I'm looking for, I don't know if they'll do it because I don't know if they'll do multiples there, but I'm looking for war games. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for war games, man. I want to see, I don't know how they do it, but I want to see all 5 of these guys, including Nikki, in a match with, that's the question, right? Like, who would it be? But Chris had mentioned before on this show, right? What if all of a sudden they start chasing after the others, right? What if they go after Braun? What if by that time Alexa comes back? And what if they, let's say it's just it's the 6 against another 6. And that could be Braun, could be, the female wrestler, could be Alexa. And then it could be some others that just turned on their families. But I would love to see them in war games. I think they're fit for it. Now, obviously, you don't see too many factions that are 6 people. So I'd love to see something like that. I don't know if they'll take a chance and do it, because many times war games might be, if it's Bloodline versus Bloodline, that might be the big main event, and that may be the big thing in war games. But I'd like to see that. Otherwise, I want to see on Raw, especially, I want to see them to continue to go after people who wronged them. So I want to see them go after Braun. I want to see Braun's not really doing much. He was involved with the whole thing with the Judgment Day. Thank you. Yeah, with Judgment Day, and so I would like to see them go after him. I'd like to see them when Alexa does come back, go after her. But as of right now, it looks as if, like, even on Raw, a lot of the factions are kind of breaking up. There's going to be something going on with Judgment Day, something behind the scenes, whether it's Balor maybe turns on his family. And that would be very interesting, too, because if he does, and he gets that rest of the Ragtags group together, so if it's Balor, if it's Dom, and the rest of them, JD McDonough, if they're together, then that could be another target, obviously, for the Wyatt Sicks, and they could go against the Judgment Day. So.
Agreed. Chris, same question, man.
I want to see this complete dominance. Like, next week in this 6-man tag match, they need to just absolutely destroy Gable and the Creed brothers, in my opinion. And same thing what goes when Howdy faces Chad. Like, I've seen some people say that, like, they're both new factions, so both of them need a win. In my opinion, I think the Wyatt Sicks need to win more Gable being a heel and everything, he can easily bounce back from that. He can brush it off and move on to something else, I think, better. So I just want to see it, especially after that little tease we got last night. Like, man, some of those moves they did were so awesome. The tag team move where Huskus picked up Mercy and slammed him on the other two, like that was awesome. I wanted to see more stuff like that and just totally make them look dominant.
Yeah. To Chris's point, Jeff, let's see them amaze all these naysayers with wrestling moves.
Yeah. Exactly.
Come up with some great stuff like that double Uranagi stuff we don't normally see. Mm-hmm. Let them amaze all the doubters and all the people who say,
tell them how good these guys can be in the ring.
Right. This isn't wrestling.
Why they're mad that they've been forgotten and passed over.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we the moves like both of you said, it was awesome to see, but then even in the moves, they were paying tribute to Bray because, those are, trademark Bray moves.
Yep.
But the team, like the actual, the tag move that they did, the tag spot that they did, that was freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was very cool.
That was that was pretty cool for real. So as we kind of wrap up here, Chris, anything else that stood out to you from last night that you wanted to chat about?
I was a little surprised to see that it was a video from Mercy. We talked about this a little earlier. I kind of thought that they wouldn't do back-to-back characters that don't really talk, but I've seen some people criticize that. But I don't know. Maybe they have a reason for that. Maybe because Gacy's a really good talker, so maybe he's going to finish strong with the videotapes next week. So I'm definitely looking forward to his. But yeah, overall though I was really, really impressed with it. Again, it's just every week it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe.
Yeah, look, I don't have anything to complain about. I think a lot of the naysayers' questions have been answered. I think that that's what I think needs to keep happening. I like the little humor from Gable saying, "Oh, I know who they are," and he's trying to tattle on them and say, "Who you can't fool me." This is Eric Rowan, and this is and he's trying to say who they all are. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like they're going to get the cops on them or something like that. I think that's really funny. But yeah, no, I think this has been handled very, very well. The writing has been very good. Next thing we're going to see is the wrestling. So that, obviously has to be addressed because this is a wrestling show. And I think that's what we're going to get next. And we're going to see how well they perform together. And like Chris said, hopefully dominate. I think they will. There'll be times in the match where you think they might be getting beat up a little bit. But Bray had that too. And then he would just come back and he would just destroy the person. And so, yeah, I'm fine with it. And like Chris said, we're going to get Joe Gacy's video still. And Gacy is more of a talker. We never knew Loomis to really talk much at all. So Gacy is more of a talker. He could be kind of a mouthpiece for them a little bit. But man, I like Zeke's suggestion there too. The Final Testament of War Games versus the Wyatt Sicks. Bray and Karrion wanted to work together. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be fantastic. And hey, you might even be able to, see Scarlett in a little action there with Nikki Cross, having some wrestling of their own in the ring, which would be kind of cool. Hardly ever see her wrestle. So, that's a great suggestion. I actually love that.
Yeah. Deanna is saying that Adam Pearce knows more than he's telling.
That's a funny comment too. There's something weird going on with him, right? Because we saw the whole Postman Pierce thing before with him, and now he's like, it's almost like he's like protecting them somehow, or maybe they could say that they've kind of got him under their wings some way. Like Bo somehow has him like by a thread where he can't do anything really about things they do. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. I agree. It does look something there is fishy. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, they did that for a reason. showed us Postman Pierce, took over his Twitter and stuff. So I think there's definitely some long-term storytelling there. And then, like he even mentioned this last night, that they're all under. He knows who they are because he did their contracts and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think they're building for something down the road with him.
Imagine when Heyman comes back. No matter if he's with Roman or not, and the whole wobbly walrus thing and everything, dude.
Yeah. They definitely need to at least do a callback to that.
There's so, like I said, there's so many, and I love it how, look, you can say that they're faces because they're going after heels right now, but I don't think they're either one. I think they're going to go after who they want to go after. If that happens to be a face team, if it happens to be heels, it doesn't matter. All bets are off with them. They can just have carte blanche for whoever they want to go after, I think. And that's how they can transition. Like, even if Roman comes back a good guy, they're still, like, I don't care what Roman is, they're still going to want a piece of him. After what he did to Bray and made fun of him, called him a clown in a mask, they're going after him at some point. I don't care what he is. It's going to be hard for fans because they're going to be hard pressed as to who to root for. But they are going to go after him at some point.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, guys, as always, this was a lot of fun. Just great conversation, great discussion. We'll leave with some final thoughts. So we'll start with Joe, and then we'll end up with Chris and get out of here.
Yeah, I like I said before, I think it's I love the pace. I like the way they're doing it. I haven't seen any fault or any reason to complain or get upset or cry about the writing or all this other kind of stuff. I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe or nitpick. I don't really even have anything, like I said, to nitpick about or to say anything that's bad. I think it's all good. They're doing a great job with it. Slow burn. Let it go. You know, a lot of people that want it to be like super fast or go a lot faster, guys, think it's just when you think that way, think about what happened with Bray. Think about what happened with the mistakes, with the Hell in a Cell, with the Goldbergs, with all that kind of crap. Putting the title on him way too fast and going into that, and think about all that stuff that happened, and then realize that the way they're doing it is probably the right way.
Yeah. I saw somebody in a group the other day talking about that. Oh, I want to see them go after tag team titles and intercontinental titles. I'm like, no, keep them away from titles.
Nope.
Maybe down the road a long ways, maybe. But yeah, for right now, no. Keep them away. Just tell the story. It's awesome.
Yep, 100%.
All right, Chris, we'll get some final thoughts from you, man.
I'm very excited for next week now. And, you think about it like this, too. Obviously, it's not quite the same level as Raw after Mania, but still Raw after SummerSlam is a big Raw. And now we have something really, really big to look forward to that we know about, of seeing them in the ring for the first time. And it's going to answer some questions. What's their entrance going to look like? What music are they going to come down to? We have no idea any of this stuff. So it's exciting to think about that. And, we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about next week, I'm sure.
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
We always have a lot to talk about as anytime these folks are on screen. And we're going to have a lot to talk about next week because I really want to see their move sets.
Mm-hmm.
To see how much they emulate Bray and Brody.
Yeah.
I want to see see the entrance, hear the music. And I want to see what Nikki does because something tells me that she might play a part. So
I'm guessing she'll be ringside. And that's another thing too. Will Howdy be ringside or not? I could see that going either way.
Right. So,
or will it just be Bo? Like there's so many unanswered questions.
Right. Lots of questions, and that's fun because it gives us lots to talk about. So, well, folks, thank you all so much for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate you. Listen, if you're an NXT fan, go join Tazzy this evening, and I can tell you tonight. There is a concert tonight by one Joe Hendry. So go check it out. It will be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see who he goes after with the song this evening. Should be a lot of fun. But we'll be back on Thursday for TNA Wrestling, our watch along for that we do every week. And then we'll be here Sunday for Between the Ropes. So unless something changes, we will probably be here Sunday. So
they said in the chat, no show on Tazzie's. Shane is not feeling well. So,
okay. So no Tazzy this evening. Okay.
But don't miss that show. I'll be watching for sure. So
don't miss the next. And I'm actually setting a record. Normally, I forget to do this on this show. This will be the second time. So, folks, if you don't mind, drop a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, if you like what you hear and see, consider subscribing and hitting that post notification bell, because never know when we'll have future content. So thank you all so much again. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Chris, for the great conversation as always. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for your questions, your theories, and your participation. So we're going to head out this evening. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.